Hey everybody, welcome to Your Unpaid Therapist.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Your Unpaid Therapist.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
Oh, that's sexy though. I like it.
I'm Valerie Milagros Ortiz.
I don't know.
I am your host, Ali Kona. She's away. Bradford.
This is Your Unpaid Therapist. Shoo-wah, cha-cha. I'm going to try something new. I'm not going to open up with a song, even though the urge is really yanking at me right now. But hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to season number 2 of Your Unpaid Therapist. We have an oldie. She's not oldie, but oldie but goodie. One of our faves. It's Yael Tygiel joining us today. Hello.
Hello, I'm so excited to be back.
Hey, with the snazzy headphones too.
Yeah,
if you guys
I
aren't
know.
watching it, you're missing out. She's looking
And of
super
course, the OG friend of mine. Hello. Hi, Miss Valerie
cute.
Ortiz.
It's Valerie. you
All
know what's
right.
funny?
Go
Was
ahead.
you mentioning that you didn't go with the urge to sing. I was like, that's so true. Like every time you open, you always have to sing, and you don't like singing. Like you're like, I sound like a dying cat, but you always
do.
choose to. So I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Maybe this will lead to a song. Because today's topic, we wanted to talk about, Yael and I were having this conversation on the phone. We're like, oh my God, we have to talk about this on podcast. But we were talking about bugaboos. And you bugging what you bugging? Who you bugging me? You know it ain't cool. So about the difference between courtship and actually being a bugaboo. Like, where is the fine line between the two, especially with us ladies? So it'll get into a fun conversation, I have a feeling. But
Yes, we got to define bugaboo for these people who don't know what that means. So, but we'll get into that later.
like for all you youngins out there,
Youngins, they're like a bug of what?
right? Well, let's start it with a little ditty. And as always, Valerie's going first.
All right, I'll go
Hey!
first, you guys. So season 1, we did these Never Have I Evers, which is really fun because we got to know a lot about each other, about our guest. Season 2, we decided to do this song. Basically, you kind of choose a song that's kind of been defining your week, your day, the hour right before we started the podcast, whatever. So, and so my idea when I pitched this to Ali Conan wasn't to ever like full blown sing it. But, she commits to everything that she does. So she's like, oh, we got to sing it. And I was like, okay. So this song you guys have to know. Usually, I don't know. I usually pick a song that people don't know. And this one, I'm just gonna go for it. And then I'll tell you what it has to do with. Hold on. I should know these lyrics. Okay. You ready?
Ready. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3.
Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody's gonna slow me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. I'm running and I won't touch ground. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. All right, y'all.
Yes. And why did you
Beautiful.
pick this song, Valerie?
What'd you say?
I said, and why did you pick this song?
I picked this song, y'all, because you guys, if you're new to me in the podcast, I love to do anything that's active. I'm doing, I was on the Great Wall of China running, and I love the gym, and fitness is my thing. What isn't my thing is not doing anything. And so I was doing this hip thrust machine thingamajiggy, and I saw this other girl. She put this foam thing. How do I describe this? Basically, you put on like a seatbelt on this machine. You're kind of you sit on it, but you rest your back on it, and you thrust your hips up. But what kind of keeps it tight and for you to be able to go up is a seatbelt. But if you have heavy weight, that like punches into your hip bone and bruises whatever. So I usually do 2 towels. But then I saw this girl, she uses this big square foam. I was like, oh, okay, I should try that. So I tried it. And then this movement, you usually do it really slow. And so I guess this girl was taller, or just the placement of my foam thing wasn't right. And I placed it. And when I went down, it like kind of went right underneath my ribs. and it was hurting, but I kind of grabbed it as I went up, like didn't let it like protrude into my ribs too much, but it was a little painful, but I was like, I got this. And I was doing it slow, went back up, did like 5 reps. On the 5th one, it like went into my left rib and I felt like and I was like, and I like stopped and I freaked the fuck out because I've never felt this before. Long story short, I'm okay. It's not broken, but it got into like the soft tissue in between my ribs and it's like bruised now. So I got to take it easy, and I'm trying to motivate myself, and that was why I chose that song.
Oh, I'm sorry, friend.
So that was me trying to hype myself up. It's
Yes,
not
that's such a sad story for such an excited like song and performance.
I know. That's what I'm saying. The song is a fake out. That's me pretending that's how I feel. I'm trying to feel like the song, but I don't yet.
She's Jedi mind tricking herself right now, Yael.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm fine. It's
all
not
right.
that big of a deal. Look, things could be worse.
Yeah.
But I'm just not a good patient. I don't do well not moving. Turning 40 in a few weeks. It's just a lot of mental shit that is involved with this, because I'm sure somebody listening out there has an amputated leg and is like, bitch, shut the fuck up. And I respectfully thank you. But yeah, just feeling sorry for myself for a little bit, but I'll be okay. Who's next?
I have a plane flying over my head. You may not hear, but I'm just going to
Don't
say
hear
that's
it.
my excuse to say, Yael, you're next. Go.
Okay. So it's the part of the song, not the song itself, that is my answer to your question of how I'm doing.
Okay, great.
And what you got to know is I don't sing. So it's, I guess, more close to a rap. I don't know.
Yes. I like
This shit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. This shit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. This shit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. That's it. That's what you're getting.
Yes, Glenn. I love a good Gwen Stefani song.
Right. Why is your shit bananas?
Okay. So you asked me to come prepared with how my week is going, and something would happen. I'd be like, oh, I'm having the best week. This is great news. And then something else would happen, and it would be like, oh, shit, everything's terrible. Everything's falling apart. And I was like, all right, I'll find something like everything's falling apart. And then something great would happen. And I'm like, this is a roller coaster. This is too much. So this week has been bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
I love it.
I love it. I'm glad that at least it's like mixed with like, this is awesome. Fuck. But this is awesome.
Yeah, I was like, I'm having the best week. I'm going to find a good song. Nope, it sucks.
Y'all, I feel like they are crop dusting above me. Like, I don't understand.
No dang airplanes.
I'm so glad. Okay, so hold on. Let me take a sip of my water.
I'm excited to hear this song.
Okay, guys. So the song, for once, I think I'm gonna pick a song that nobody knows. So it's a Pink song from one of her first albums. And the reason I picked it, I'm telling you first, part one, and then I'll tell you part two. Part one is I received some pictures via text this week, and there were pictures of Culture Shock, which is the dance company I used to be a part of. That company literally laid down the foundation for who I am as an artist today. My ability to express myself and take chances and be around an array of different people and embrace people, like all the things. And one of the first songs I learned to dance to was Pink, You Make Me Sick. So I'll tell the rest of the story, but this is how the song goes.
By the way, this was a popular song.
Oh, well, whatever.
Never know.
Okay. And the choreography. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. You make me sick. I want you and I'm hating it. Got me lit like a candle tip. Nope. You make me sick. I want you and I'm hating it. Got me lit like a candlestick. I'm too hot when you touch a tip. I'm feeling it. I really gotta get this. Drive me crazy, baby. Don't you quit. Can't get enough of it. You got me going again, baby. You got me going again. You make me sick.
Okay. I can't wait. Who's making you sick?
Shall I say their name? No, I'm just kidding. They don't make me sick anymore. So Val knows this story. I have an old friend that I knew in Culture Shock. We were involved, whatever. Didn't work out. We reconnected like many years later, and we've discovered we have this weird psychic connection that I don't know, like if I'm thinking very sadly and feeling something, and his name or his face will come into my mind, and I call him and he's having a really bad day, like really bad day. And then there's other times where I'm like, oh, I had a dream about you last night. Oh, I was sending you prayers last night of health and wealth. And I was like, oh, well, you were a zombie, but that's okay. And then this week I was doing a cleansing, clearing exercise and clearing out my past. He was one of those people, wrote his name on a paper, threw it in the trash. And then I finished the exercise and I get a text from him with pictures of me and him. And I was like, oh, that is weird. And the next day he called me. He was like, last night I was doing a cleansing exercise.
Oh my
Getting rid
God.
of people that don't serve me. And I came across your photo, but I couldn't throw it away because you're so special to me. And I was like, oh, well, you went in the trash can, but I love you. And it wasn't you. It was just the past of me and you. But also a person in culture shock, and also the way I felt about him back in the day was like, oh, you make me sick. Because at the time I'm like, I want you and I hate it. And da 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 da. So that's my week.
Wow.
You know, it's really interesting because I'm sure, like, hearing you say it, it sounds like, okay, you may be like stretching the truth, or it's like, that wasn't like a coincidence. Just he just bullshitted or whatever. But it has happened a lot of times where Ali Kona will tell me about this person or say, you know, some random story from the past, blah, blah. And she will show me this text, like out of nowhere, this person texts her, like, and she was just telling me. So she wasn't telling him. And I'm like, what? And I mean, I do believe in like, what is it? Platonic soulmates, you know? And I do believe that they were something in another world, and they're trying to like figure that out in this one. And I don't know, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So anyways, now that we are on the topic of in some senses romance, right?
Romance, yes.
Yes. And so
Courtship or not.
Exactly. Like there's a fine line between, and things have changed so much in just dating and the roles of men and women that it's no longer that traditional, like, let me ask you out, let me take you out, let me try to impress you, or blasey, blasey, blah, all that stuff. And there was this post that I just shared with the ladies of this guy, and he was saying that men these days want to be treated like a lady. Like they expect their women to have the money, to get the thing, to do the thing, and then chase after them. And he was like, no, like a man's role, and this is his opinion, but he's like, a man's role is to be of service. And if a man does not want to come and serve you, as in making your life better, then he's in essence looking out for himself. And a man who's looking out for himself cannot see you. And I was like, huh, but those men are still going to try to date you, right? And so, Yael, you had said that for men, what'd you say? Like the conversation starts at no, right?
This sounds like me, but I can't place what it is that I said. But the thing that I had said that I had seen that is similar to this, it was a TikTok, and I wish I could give credit to the person who said this. But it was that men think they're competing with other men, and what they're competing with is a woman's peace. And so instead of them being like, I need to be the, make the most or be the hottest or whatever, they need to understand that they need to supply something to this woman that is more than what she gets when she has peace and doesn't need to deal with them. So if you're a man and you're not adding to the value, then you're unnecessary. And what that value is, is different for each person and each couple.
That's right.
Alikona, was that what you were talking about that I said?
Sort of. It was more so like the conversations with no, meaning like men start, like when you say no, they're like, oh. Anyway, so you got a man? Oh, that's okay. No, you're not interested, but you can have a friend, right? That's okay, right? We can be friends, which gets into the definition of a bugaboo. Okay. It's that guy that keeps on, like, he does not understand when to stop. But women do it sometimes too.
That's right. Yes, they do. I just saw a thing on an account I follow, like Puerto Rico Graham or something. And at a concert, like this guy, they always bring the women up, and then they show like this, beautiful girl. I don't know why they gave her a mic. She doesn't sing. I thought she was a singer. But then she like puts her hands on like his thigh, and he's married. And it like they were just like talking shit about like, who does she think? Like, why would she do that? He did really good because he kind of like moved to the side and like kind of respectfully tried to be like, yeah, don't do that, but didn't like swat her hand out because it's a whole concert.
Mhm.
And then he like did the kind of hug where they hunch their back up so like the chest doesn't touch. It's not like a chest to chest hug.
Mhm.
And then the guard like pulls her away, and like everybody in the comments is just like, aha, that's what she gets. Like, you know, like she looked real desperate, blah blah blah. So women, I mean, they have no shame either. Some.
But it is that interesting fine line, right? Because there isn't as much courtship. Like women are in a space and place where like, if I think you're cute, I will talk to you and I will hang out with you, or I'll make an attempt to get a date with you. And that's that whole like chasing thing, right? But it's like, at what point does that come across as being like thirsty, or just like, hey, you're taking too long, like let's go out?
So that I think is a great question, is or really a lesson that everybody should be learning, is that you need to, we're no longer playing games. Games are stupid. That's where we get these ideas that women don't communicate their feelings and expect men to read their minds. And that's where we get these ideas that, men need to feel like they have to chase you. And that's why what Ali Kona was talking about is that that no is a starting place. So I think that we start fresh and we tell everybody, you need to be clear. You need to put yourself out there. You need to say what you mean, and you do it once. That's the issue, right? Is I've seen where I find someone attractive. I am not a subtle person. I'm not a person who's going to wait to make a move. I'm going to be like, I think you're hot and I would like to give you my info. And that's it. I have made my move and I let go. Right. Any more than that, I'm harassing this person. It's not about desperation. It's about harassment at this point. So there was another great TikTok that was talking about when you're like at a restaurant and, you're eating there and you think the server is hot. How do you make that move? They're at work. You don't want to harass them while they're working. And the answer is, when you leave your info. You go, I think you're attractive, or I think we had a great conversation, or, I would like to take you out. You leave your info, so it's now you've made the move, and you leave so that they can go on with their work day. Right. And you have not bothered them at work or harassed them.
Mm-hmm. I've actually had an instance. We were talking about this on the phone too. So I went hike. I feel like this person tricked me into giving them my information. So I was on a hike. And it's partially my fault, but I was on a hike and this guy approached me and was just asking me like, what's going on further down there? Is it shut off? Whatever. I told him, starts petting the dog. Oh, dog's so cute. And I'm not from around here. I'm from the other side of the hill. This is my first time hiking. And I'm like, okay, like I'm trying to go, but I'll be nice.
Can I pause? How old was this person?
Roughly. Late 50s.
Okay, sounds like it. Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm so glad you asked. I was like, ask the question. Ask it.
I'm like, okay.
And so I was like,
I can hear how old he is.
Right. And also too, like for me, I guess I feel like I know that I tend to lean looking younger than I actually am. So when a much older appearing gentleman starts to hit on me, I'm like, me? Okay. But not that there's nothing, age ain't nothing but a number. Okay. But at there is some line for me. Yeah. And so anyway, he was like, I love hiking. I'm not familiar with the area. Maybe next time you're up here or something. He's like, if you need a hiking buddy, like I'm around. And I was like, but I was just manifesting connecting with more people because I just need to get out there. And because I want to, I'm in the middle of funding a project and I don't know how. I've never done sponsorships before. And I was like, I just want to draw on people that can help me with this show and sponsorships. And he literally talked to me right after that. So I'm in the headspace of maybe this is the person that's going to like teach me or help me or whatever. And so when he was like, if you ever want like a hiking buddy in the future. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe. But instead of offering me his number, he had already had his phone out and he's like, okay, like what's your number? I'll just text you my number. And so you have it. And I was like, well, oh, okay. And that was that. Later that night, I got a text with like pictures of his hike, how he lost his phone. It was an adventure and this was beautiful and that was beautiful. And I was like, is this person hitting on me or is he just being nice? But then the text came like every single day after that. And I was like, bro, okay, that was a really sneaky, because you weren't directly like, hey, you want to go out or I like you or I find you attractive. It was like, I thought it was like a buddy, just I'm new to town kind of thing.
Well, I'm going to pause you because anybody listening to this would be like, Ali Kona, she's away, Bradford.
You stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to say your age, but what are you talking about? You have been on this earth long enough to know that ain't no man, but definitely a 50 something looking whatever man talking to you on a random motherfucking Tuesday on a hike. I don't know what day it was. Asking you for your number because he wants to be a hiking buddy. Like, come on.
I'll
You
say,
really didn't
look,
know that?
I'm going to defend her for a sec. Because I think that Ali Kona has this really beautiful openness to meeting people, to connecting, to networking.
I understand that, but there is a
And
he was super naive, and at this point and at this age, like that's just kind of like, are you for real? Like, come on. Like,
I think because he was so much older, if he was my age, I would have been like, okay. But because he was older, I was like, there is no way this dude. But some men, that's the thing, is like men don't think about age, I think, the way us women do. And because it is so much like on TV and whatever, that you see like the
so you saw him like uncle or something.
yeah, sorry. Frank is calling me, our old sound guy. But anyways,
That's funny.
yeah, I just think of it as like,
Okay.
but in TV they portray, this is kind of going on a different tangent, but it's like you always see a dude who's like 50 and the girl in the movie is like in her 20s. And so for them, it's like, whatever, you know?
I agree. Media definitely portrays, and living in LA definitely has skewed everyone's mind, that lots of times you will see men who are drastically older, drastically less attractive. I'm just saying it.
Not
Drastically less attractive, and older, with traditionally attractive women, with younger women. It's something that we have. It's been ingrained in us to see that and to accept it. And so I think that a lot of times, especially in LA, we as women will see a man who is older and go, oh, this could be a good opportunity, a networking, a mentorship, a relationship that could lead somewhere. Maybe they have a son. But in LA, the men will be like, this is my next girlfriend.
I'm just for all the women out there or men listening, shaking their heads. Me too, y'all. No, what? In what world? That's just super ignorant. I'm just gonna call it for what it is. Like, any grown man talking like that to a beautiful, seemingly by herself woman, no one's trying to be your friend. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, come on. Like, that to me, it really sounds like, huh? Like super naive, super like,
You know what, Valerie? You're very pretty, and I'm sure men hit on you all the time. So your radar is on. Men don't hit on me all the time. So I'm like,
girl.
So I'm going to also say,
I'm gonna stop you. Yes, they do. You just think they're trying to be your friend. They're
that's the other thing. As much as I want to defend Ali Kona, she also probably is not aware of the amount of people hitting on her.
like that 1,000,000%. How about
Because I approach life with two philosophies. One is everyone's queer. Everyone is somewhere on the queer spectrum. And everybody wants me. Those are my two life philosophies. So if someone approaches me at any point, I assume they want me.
that?
And I'm usually right.
Wow. Ali Kona, you need to adopt that.
I love that for you, Yael.
They really aren't. This is just a funny story. But okay, let's get back to, so how about this? Because we're getting courtship or whatever. Now, let's just assume, because we already know, he was trying to hit on you. Did you respect that?
What do you mean by respect that?
The way that he went about it.
He did it. Like, I mean, obviously he wasn't like, you're hot, I want to take you out to lunch, but the friendly approach, so let me try to be her friend and get to know her approach. Or would you have respected somebody being like what Yael does? I think you're hot, take my number, blah, blah, blah. Is that something that you would have respected more?
Yes and no. I just felt like this particular person, it just felt slick and sneaky to me.
Gotcha.
That's why I didn't appreciate it, because it was approached to me in a very friendly manner. So when I started getting all these texts about like your hike and your photos and like, hey, do you want to go here tomorrow or do you want to go here? And I was like, huh? No?
I feel like the difference is, to support you, Ali Kona, that he tricked you by pretending that he cared about any thought or whatever that you had. Whereas if he like actually wanted to get to know you, he wouldn't have gone about it this way. Whereas like it's better to approach in like a more direct way and put the ball in your court.
That's it though. Because it was presented.
I gotta defend this dude, you guys, because because it's a show of all women. So let me speak out for the fellas.
Okay.
Because there's women out there who talk about like, I don't know you. Why you're asking me on a date? Like, let's get to know each other. Like, what are you talking about? Like, they would find that offensive that you didn't try to talk to me, have a conversation. Yeah. And so there is a world where this guy felt, and plenty of men be like, oh, I was trying to get to know this person. I was hiking, you were hiking. That was my way to get to know you in a friendly manner and not come off strong and like, yeah.
But it doesn't feel like he wanted to get to know her.
No, but also too, but it was.
What did he say?
Here,
did he say something about like, I want to go?
No. It was just the way of like, here, I'll give you my number so that you can text me if you want to, but give me your number and I'll just text you my number. Okay, so then that to me is like, if I want to call you or text you, I can.
So here's the thing, though. We have to take accountability for our actions. If you gave him your number, like, what is he thinking, right? So you can't assume that he didn't take that as an open invitation to continue to text you. So that's not his fault.
And that part is not. But I guess I was just being nice.
You know what I mean?
I know, whatever. Doesn't matter. Point is, to answer Yael's question, I've had people like at Target come up to me, and to me, I find this respectful. At the time, I was in a relationship, and that person was not my type, but the person came up to me and was like, excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt your shopping experience. I just want to let you know that I think that you're very beautiful, and I don't know if you're single, but if you are, can I give you my number? And then I was like, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. I do have a boyfriend, but thank you. And the person was very courteous. Okay, no problem. Well, he's a lucky guy, and thank you so much.
Awesome.
Cool. To me,
this is what I'm saying, right? Although, yes, this person doesn't know you and he just approached you because he's physically attracted to you. And I do understand, because I personally also am like, I get it. You think I'm hot, I'm aware, but like, back up. You don't know me. But at least you know exactly what he wants and what he's going for. And I think that this idea of like somebody tricking you into thinking that they want to be your friend, but really they're not trying to. And that's a whole other conversation about like being friends with somebody without the purpose of it leading to sex.
You guys, but right now you sound super ignorant. Like, I'm just going to call it for what it is. You thinking that he didn't trick anything. She voluntarily gave her number. So that's not a trick.
No, but I thought it was like, if you want to maybe go for a hike in the future, whatever, not like text me every single day of the week.
Then tell him that. Stop.
Well, you know
what I mean? I think what I don't want to do is put the blame all on one person, because especially just in this isolated incident, there was no trickery. And we're using the word trick, and he didn't trick anything. Like, you voluntarily gave him your number. He talked about hiking, which is what he talked about in person. So with just the information that we have of just this isolated incident, it's really unfair to like put this particular gentleman, even though, we would have wanted him to do it differently. Maybe some women would have liked that, but there was no trickery, right? And we can't say that, because he was for it. He asked for your number, you gave it to him, and he did text you. He did it too much, whatever. You didn't know that. Then you can stop it right there. Hey, this is not what I thought it was. Whatever you want to say to him, but we can't. He's not like this monster. Like, he didn't do anything wrong.
He's a monster.
You're
but
right.
If you say text me when you feel like it, and you didn't wait for me to text you, and you just start blowing up my phone,
right? But that's a dude, girl. That's a dude who just got a hot girl's number. He's excited.
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. Valerie, you're correct. We can't keep putting it all on this guy. Sorry, Alicona.
Yeah,
No,
I mean, this
whatever.
incident, you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
can stop it, and if he keeps bothering you, yeah, like
Which I
you're doing,
did.
dude,
Yeah.
you're doing the most. But for the sake of courtship, which is what the conversation is about, like, that's the hard part, because we do have these two ways that it can go, right? Somebody who's trying to be super straightforward. Some women might be like, "Oh, that was a bit aggressive." Then we have these old men who are trying to be friends with some young hot chicks. And
I think that's a good question, though, right? And this is something I always feel like if I'm meeting a guy for a date is, do you have any female friends that you are just friends with, that you've never slept with, you never wanted to sleep with, you just wanted to be their friend?
great question. Yes, 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 yes.
And they're not your friend's partner.
Yeah.
So, do you have any female friends that you are just friends with? Because if you are not capable of seeing a woman as another person, that is a huge problem. And tells me that you don't really know how to court, and that any friendship or like getting to know you you're doing is just a way to get me to sleep with you.
Sure. You know what's interesting about that? So I have a lot of close male friends who are like family, like brothers. And when I was dating my now boyfriend, he was like, "Oh, this is new." And then he got to meet the guys, and he's like, "Oh, like super amazing guys. You know, I totally get it." But in the beginning, I know he was really thrown by it, and he's like, I don't understand, because for me, any women that would be my friend, if I was like attracted to them, he's like, I would try to be dating them. Exactly what you just said, Yael. And he's like, and if I'm not attracted to them, we're not like, and if I am attracted to them and it's not going to work, then I can't be their friends, because I do want to date her, you know, something like that. And so he's like, I don't understand how these guys could be your friend. I was like, it's not like that, you know, it's like a family thing.
Right.
But it's true. Like, the men who know that about themselves, it's just like, no, I think you're hot, I can't be your friend. Like, because I want to be with you.
You know, it's interesting because I was everybody's friend. Like in high school and in college, I was always the best friend. I was never like the lady
Because
of
you didn't know they all loved you.
Yeah.
No, y'all are wrong. Trust me. Trust and believe. They were not trying to be with me.
I don't believe it.
They were not trying to be with me. And the dudes that did like date me, they dated me for like 2 weeks and then they moved on to some other girl. And I was like, but I like
But that's
you.
a them problem. That had nothing to do with you.
Point is, there were only like 2 dudes that like really were interested in me, and that lasted for 2 weeks. Both of them. I couldn't pass the 2-week threshold, you guys. And I think it's because I wasn't a slut. But that's okay. The point is, I had a lot of male friends, and while I may have thought they were cute, I already knew that they weren't interested in me. So I was like, I'll just keep being friends with all these people. It's fine. But girls did not like me. I had my like 4 or 5 close knit group of friends, and other than that, all the girls did not like me. All the girlfriends.
Why do you think that is?
Let me tell you why they ain't like
Yeah, why do you think that is, Alikota?
Their boyfriends did not like me.
Girl,
I was one of the dudes.
Whether you see it or not, because you clearly don't, you were a threat to them. Point blank, period. If you weren't, if they didn't think you were beautiful, if they didn't think at some point maybe he was thinking about you or it would think about you, they'd be like, I don't care. Yeah, go have coffee. I'll pay for it. Like, but you were a threat to them, baby.
That makes no sense. I had like acne and braces and like, no, I was just a really good friend. Trust me. They were not interested in me at all.
So there was something. So, okay, here's the thing though. What you, and for you, this is important. When you are attracted to people, the physical is huge for you. For a lot of people, it's not. So there's people who are attracted to like someone's personality, or you've said this, someone's talent, someone's like just the way they talk, the way they carry themselves. That's all me. Like, and you know that because of my past. Like give me the personality, give me the attitude, give me how they make me feel all day, every day. Fuck the outside. I don't care if you look whatever. But I know for you, Ali Kona, that's that's high on the list. That's almost probably number one, and then everything trickles down.
Yeah.
So I
like,
think because of that, you can't see that if in your eyes you weren't attractive or you had some blemishes or whatever, somebody can find you attractive. Some people don't give a shit, girl. You have a bomb ass personality. You're hella talented. You're charismatic. You're bubbly. You have great energy. Like, that's not all a lot of people look at. And I'm just saying that because I just think that's still something I want to like knock into your head.
I think you make some amazing points, Valerie. That is so good. I'm also going to add to all of those positives about Alicona. Something she is not aware of is that she's super hot.
Yes,
get out.
This is it.
But
It's okay.
putting that aside, back to courtship.
Thank you.
I think that, there are different ways. Obviously, we've talked a little bit about that like some people like a direct approach, some people like this other approach. And I think just the big thing that like, I think, at least I hope the Gen Zers and the younger generation are acknowledging is that like everything we've learned previously is outdated and leads to miscommunications and leads to harassment and coercion and things. And like, I think that, and I hope that I'm right, that the younger generation is much more open to talking about things and at least, discussing their needs and wants in a way that being like, I want to be approached this way, as opposed to hoping somebody figures it out.
Yeah. You know what I find, at least just for me, difficult is because I am a very, really strong, I know, independent kind of woman, and I've grown into that person. What's really difficult is I do like a very, and it's hard to describe because and that's part of the problem. I like some of the old fashioned, like let the man like take over and make the decisions and surprise me and plan dates. Like I like some of that, which I could see it being very confusing to some men because it's like, well, she knows what she wants and she gets it. Whatever she wants, she buys. Da 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 da. So I could see how that would be hard. So it's interesting to me how. And some of these guys, what you were saying earlier, Alicona, who are like, oh, well, I expect the woman to do that to me and then like treat me that way and blah, 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 blah. So it's like times are changing and exactly what you said, you just kind of have to communicate like what you need and what speaks to you.
So how would you two react if a guy you started to talk to, date, whatever, pretty much laid out that he is in that role reversal where he does expect you to not, well, for lack of better words, court him, but the way I was saying in the beginning, like treat him like a lady, like you should go after this and that and the third. Like what is your response to that role reversal? Obviously not for me, but
Oh, we're done. I'm just not attracted to that.
I'll say this. First of all, if they can lay that out for me, love that. That's great. Lay it out for me. Tell me what you expect and what you want. That said, this, not something I want. Here's why. I do not want to be your mother. I will not be taking care of you in that way. I'm going to tell you all about all these TikToks I saw. There's this really great TikTok where this woman was talking about how millennial women were the first generation to see their moms, or some, a lot of us, our moms were the first generation where the moms worked full time and raised the kids and had to do both. And that as children, little boys saw that and went, that's what I want. That's what I want, is I want a woman who can raise my kids, but also is independent and has a job and takes care of herself. Whereas the little girls saw that and went, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to be a mom and a full-time employee and then have to raise my husband as well. I don't want to do that. So we grew up seeing these things and deciding we wanted different things. And that's why if a man said to me, that's what I'm looking for, I'd be like, good for you. And I hope you find it. Thank you for telling me, because that's not me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same. What about you? You said no, right, Alicona?
Yeah, no, it's not. But it's like I've found myself in that situation because it wasn't blatantly said, and it's my fault. I'll take full responsibility. And that has to do with insecurity, self-worth, all the things, but like showing up and being like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this like really thoughtful, sweet gesture. Cause that's what you do when you like somebody, like you do something thoughtful and you do this and that. And then it's like slowly realizing, oh, this person's thoughtful gestures are not nearly as grand. Like they're minimal effort, but I'm just so tickled by the fact that someone did something nice that I'm like, hooray. And I'm just going to keep on like pouring it on and showing you all these great things to show you why I'm so great and why you should love me. And then that threw off the balance of the relationship. So it's like, okay, going into the next being, it's a hard line, right? Because I'm not entitled and I'm not like, I don't expect to just be the receiver, but knowing, like being okay with somebody doing nice stuff and if they're not willing to put forth the same effort, just going like, okay, that's nice, but I think I need more. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's important. Look, when I was dating, and I was doing those apps, there was a guy that I dated who was a good person, like a lot of pluses. And at the end, it was just one of these things where it's just like what he needs and what I need, we don't give naturally. And I feel like one of my best friends, she was like, girl, you basically gave him the book, the Valerie 101 book, and he's still fucking up. So like you can't, like, what else are you going to say? Like, and there was nothing wrong with him. Like there's plenty of women who are going to like his approach and how he is and whatever. And it was fine. But I was just like, I cannot, how about this? I do not want to teach you how to, love me and care for me. Like certain things, sure, you have to communicate, but after a while, it's just like, clearly that's just not how you are. Like our love language situation and what he needed from me was very difficult for me to do because I wasn't getting what I needed. So we weren't filling each other's cup. And it was just like, oh, I got to let this go. Especially at this age, we're like, your potential ain't good enough. Like we're not doing this. Mm-hmm. But it's good to know.
But I love that you said that because that's that compromise situation where I feel like some men will feel like they're doing all sorts of compromising, even though they're doing very minimal. So then when you ask for more, they're like, oh, but I'm already compromising so much. I'm like, but are you though? Like, are you really? Because it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. And again, it was hard because it was, again, there's nothing, you're not a bad person. There's stuff that you need from me and I need from you that we can't give. And so let's not waste any more time, you know?
And that's what's so great about like just laying it all out there, right? Is you can tell the person what you need and they can tell you what they need. And if you can't do it, that's okay. Right. Not everybody's for everybody.
Correct.
So yeah, though, let me ask you, because you are the type of person that has no problem walking up to a guy and be like, hey, I think you're hot. Here's my number. If you want to call me, call me. You just made the first move. In some world, in some book, in some men versus women and Venus and Mars and all that shit, you weren't supposed to make the first move because you threw off the masculine feminine balance.
What?
The next step for you then in that relationship is how then do you expect him to step into his masculine, or are you the type of person that is just going to take initiative for the entire relationship?
So to answer your question, I'm going to ask, have you heard of the handkerchief rule?
No.
Okay. In the old days, a woman would drop her handkerchief so that the man she was interested would pick it up. That was her way of saying, I am interested. I have dropped my handkerchief, you pick it up, and now you hand it to me and we start a conversation. I am not subtle. My handkerchief is, you're hot, here's my number. I have now given you the move, and now you should then take it if you're interested. At that point, we'll have a conversation and you'll find out real quick that I am not going to be the one leading everything. I expect an equal partner. I will plan dates. They will plan dates. There was this TikTok where this one.
We are not sorry by TikTok yet, y'all. But.
I'm so sorry. When I was on TikTok, I was in dating TikTok, and so I saw all of these things. And there was this woman who said she made a deal with her husband that if he planned the trip, they would go to his family for the holidays. They had not been to his family for the holidays for years because he never planned it. If your partner cannot say, I want to go see my family, I will make sure we have our flights, I will get us the hotel and the rental car, whatever you need, something you do all the time, if they can't also do that, then it's not happening. I am that person that if I'm planning a date, you also should be able to plan a date. If I'm planning a trip for us, you should also be able to plan a trip for us. If I make us dinner, you should also be able to make us dinner.
Yes.
Preach.
For sure. Like, that's huge. And I'm very much like you, Alikona, and you, Yael. Like, I love gifting and planning, and like I just get excited about that. Like, it's my love language. So I'm all like and like getting creative. For Father's Day, I got David and Liv. They had a photo shoot together for Skims, and beautiful photo. And so I blew it up, but mosaics. So like out, like the big picture is one of the pictures from the photo shoot, and all the other pictures is little pictures of them since she was born, and it's just him and her. And like when I thought of it, I was like, yes, I was like so excited. And I just get off on it. I'm like, ooh, this could be so good, whatever. And he loved it. It was amazing. So the problem is, though, in a relationship that isn't like equal like that, I can very much fall into how you do sometimes, Alikona, is like just kind of give. And then that balance can be thrown off. Now, because of just life and being grown, I don't do that. But being with the wrong person could lead me into a hole where I just stay there in that trap of just like, oh, wait a minute, this isn't balanced. And then I'll get resentful. And then now it's just, but then it's all my fault because nobody asked you to be all super extra and plan vacations.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be equal in terms of like the exact same thing, right? If this is your way of giving, is to give like this in such a thoughtful, meaningful way, and their way of giving is to make sure that you've never had to do a dish or clean the house.
True.
Like it can be different, but the value is that it gives you that same feel. You know what I mean?
I do. Absolutely. And I think that's how you know, like when people like work, it's just like, okay, great. You get me. And I'll say that also though, back to communicating what you need. Because even just recently, this stupid little injury, I'm the kind of person, I don't need anybody to tell me like, just push through, like, just sometimes you just got to say, fuck it. And like, forget it. Like, whatever. Like, if you say something like that to me, I assume you don't know who the fuck I am. Like, clearly, because it's just like, I am so disciplined. Like, you need to tell me to sit the F down. So when somebody gives me some kind of advice like that, I'm like, thank you. I see you were trying to be nice, but like, it's almost insulting because if they're close to me, by the way, it's like, why would you say that to me? Like, you don't know me. Like, it is to me, it's insulting. And then I'm sure somebody listening is like, girl, you're much, but it is. I'm just like, okay. So the person who's with me needs to know, like, that's not how you talk to me when something like this happens. So I have to communicate like what I need is like, I understand you've been working super hard for all these few weeks, but it's not going anywhere. And Alikona knows because she like sent me the best message the other day. And Alikona got it. Like, she's like, I'm validating your feelings. I know you don't want to be Debbie Downer, but just, it's okay. Like, feel the feelings and then keep it moving. I know you work out just like me, but take it easy, but just push as much as you want. Da, 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 da. And it's like, that's how you know your people. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but that's how you know your people get you.
Mm-hmm.
I do that in relationships too. And if they don't get it, I guess my point was, if they don't know that, for the right person, communicate that, right? Like, oh gosh, they missed the mark. Like that wasn't it. But if they're worth keeping in your life and you want to continue this relationship, you have to communicate those things.
Yeah. I also want to address too, though, like if you are in that relationship and you are finding your voice and you are learning how to communicate the things that you need and you want, hopefully your person will accept that and embrace it. But sometimes when you grow, people around you don't like that because they now have to change too.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
have to change the way they treat you. They respect you. They have to respect the fact that your standards are now higher. So therefore they have to work harder. And not everybody is going to be willing to do that.
I love that you brought that up. When I was driving home and I was thinking about the podcast, I thought about that and then I forgot. So I love that you brought that up because that's so true. And that's happened to me in past situations where like everything was cool, like you guys were vibing. And then it gets to a point where like, you know, things shift as we do, we grow, we change, blah, blah, blah. And unfortunately that happens, but you have to kind of be okay with that and be strong enough to move on. Sometimes that's really hard. And we've talked about this on the podcast, moving on or walking away from somebody you still really, really love. But you have to know what you need and want enough to be able to do that and value yourself enough to know that it's necessary.
I also want to pipe in. I'm so sorry. I'm like talking so much, Yael, and I want you to talk too.
No, you guys are both saying great stuff that I was going to say, so you're good. I feel like I've spoken.
Okay. That actually has happened to me on 2 occasions, where once actually even with my father, who was always, because I was such a quiet child. I know, hard to believe. I was a very quiet child, and he'd get so frustrated and he'd be like, oh my God, speak up, have an opinion, speak up, use your voice, speak up, speak up. And one day I finally got the courage to speak up. And the thing that I said, he didn't like because it was about him and about how he treated me. And then all of a sudden it was like, you don't know what you're talking about. Da 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 da. You're jumping. Da da da. And that shut down that part of me that was like, oh, it's okay to speak up. It's not. Because when you do, then you just get reprimanded. And so going into a relationship, I was very much a yes person just because I wanted to please them. And somewhere in my mind, I was like, well, I don't want them to stop liking me anymore. So I'm just going to keep being a people pleaser. And when I finally got like so annoyed with whatever situation and I finally found my voice and was like, I don't like this. And I'd really appreciate that person did not like that. Because they'd been around me for so many years, accustomed to me being a yes person. For me to say no was like, but if they had gotten involved with me initially and I was a yes, no, it wouldn't have been a thing. But it's just they knew me as, oh, she's doormat. It's okay. There was a point to me saying this, dang it, and I lost my point.
I think that the if I may pick that up, I'm picking up that thread. It's that you need a partner who's going to listen and hear you and respect you telling them your wants and needs. And if they aren't going to be able to handle you telling them your wants and needs, they're not the partner for you. And as Valerie said earlier, you might have to walk away, and that doesn't mean you don't love them. And that's tough, but you have to take care of yourself and put up your boundaries and then stand by them. Because otherwise, what is the point of life if people are ignoring your boundaries? What a sad life. Why would you want to live that?
I know what I was going to say. I had an epiphany because somebody had said something and I was like, with the whole like being afraid of saying no to people and them not liking me anymore or thinking poorly about me behind my back. How many times, Valerie, I'm going to use you example. Okay. I've known you for years and there have been times where you're like, no, I don't like that. Or this could be better. Or like, wait, why do we want to talk about this topic? But I don't get mad. And even if it was something where I was like even remotely slightly irritated, or you did say no to something that I wanted to do, the next day, I still loved you. The next day, I was still your friend. The next day, I wasn't ready to abandon you because you said something I didn't care for or didn't agree to do something that I wanted to do. So having that mindset and reminding myself that if I have other friends that are, good friends, they're not going to get mad at me and they're not going to abandon me and not be my friend, or this guy's going to not want to be my boyfriend anymore because I didn't want to do whatever.
Yeah. And respect's a big thing. And I've heard this from men, and I mean, I'll just speak for myself as a woman. Like when somebody respects themselves and has boundaries and is very clear on what they need, like that's attractive. Because, and I think you would agree, nobody wants a yes man all the time who's like, okay, I mean, yeah, you're amazing. Oh my God, whatever you want. Like, ugh. Like, no, thank you. Personally, maybe some women want that. I don't like it. And it's really funny. Actually, when I was going through my divorce, my mom and I took this road trip to see the Grand Canyon. She had never been to Vegas. We did this whole thing and it was so great. And we were talking about like before my dad and this guy that like really liked her. And this guy was super good looking, had a lot of money, like my dad, didn't. And my aunt and grandma didn't want my dad for my mom because he wasn't like, the rich whatever guy. And so this guy was, and he just was like all on my mom's like AWS. And she was like, I hated it. She said that they were on the like highway, and she loves flowers, and she's like, oh, this is so pretty. This mofo stopped, parked, and like picked some flowers for her, and she was like, oh, that's too much. Like, and that he would drop her off at work, and she was like, I wouldn't even like make it to upstairs because like she had to go up like to the second floor, and he would be texting like, oh, did you make it okay? And she's like, what are you? I just got out of the car. Like, yes, I made it okay. And all the other women were like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Oh, Aracelis, he loves you. Da, da, da. And she was like, that's a little much. All that to say, I'm like my mom.
But that's the thing is this and you tell the person. That's the key, right? Because as you heard, other people heard these stories and were like, wow, that's amazing. I'm listening to it, I was like, how romantic. But it wasn't for her. And that's okay. And it reminds me of earlier we were talking, Alicona was talking about the starting at a no, that some men start at no and find, like that chase and try to convince you to say yes. And although this was not the case with this situation, but I think that, sometimes some people like these games, like this, push and pull. And it's hard to say, hey, I like to be chased. You know what I mean? Like that maybe doesn't feel good, or it doesn't feel necessarily like it feels like a weird thing to say. But I think we got to get to a place where as a society, we're more comfortable being like, this is what I like.
Yes.
I like that if I mentioned to you, I really like flowers, maybe not in that moment, but I would love it if you surprised me sometime with flowers. That's to say for everyone on the internet, I don't like flowers. Just a little known fact right there. But like, I think communication really is the big thing. Respect is the big thing. Alicona, you were talking about how Valerie would say no to something, and that doesn't mean you love her any less. And it reminds me of my roommate, who is my platonic soulmate, as Valerie was saying earlier about platonic soulmates. He and I, when we moved in together, made a decision that whatever we said to each other, we couldn't take personally, right? If it was, hey, you need to take out the trash more, that's not a personal attack.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, really hard for a lot of people is people don't like confrontation.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's a life skill we should be learning in high school. Who needs home ec when we could learn how to talk to each other?
Yeah, that's tough. And people, we have a hard time, especially people who just want to be liked and adored. But I'm always the nice person. To hear that you weren't that to somebody is hard, and it's hard not to be offended. And just listen to the criticism as just like a learning moment. All really good things to talk about, to hear, to exploring yourself. I love that we had this conversation. We had a previous conversation. And if you guys didn't listen to season 1, where I recommended a book called Why Men Love Bitches, I'll recommend that book again, because it is really, it just talks about not being a doormat, standing for who you are. And yeah, just having values.
Yeah. Well, it's about that time. Turn down the moon. Okay. It's time for what if. What if I stop singing? Okay. So we have this segment that we've started doing. Yael, I haven't actually had a conversation with you about this yet, so you're going to be on the spot a little bit. But
Yep.
Yep. So, what if is just a great practice that Valerie and I are trying to implement into our days, our lives, and we encourage you guys to do the same, which is basically we walk around life a lot of times what ifing the worst possible situation, and then you end up with anxiety or just in a whirlwind of either negativity, fear, whatever the case may be. So instead of what ifing the worst, how about you take something that's been on your plate this last week and what if the best possible outcome? So for once, I will take it first. And I was actually thinking about this as you guys were talking, but I am in a class that's about manifesting and all these other things. And the instructor has been talking about miracles and how to like really put your English rewind. Okay. Talking about how, to live. Fuck me. I am just lost. Okay. Rewind it one more time. I shouldn't have taken this first, guys. But being in a place of like receiving a miracle and actually believing it, but living in it and showing up to life as if that miracle has happened. So I'm going to say, what if I do get myself into that place and create a wild miracle, be it in my career? Like, what if I do create that opportunity where I just happen to meet that person down the street? Like, I've lived my life based off of work hard, try this, try that. You know, the people who work hard are the people that get what they want in life. But what if it was easy? Like, what if I've already done all the work? And what if it's just bumping into that person at the grocery store or hiking with somebody and complimenting their dog? What if? Anyways,
I love it. Okay, I'll go give you some time. Yael. So mine is, what if this injury heals way faster than everybody else is saying, and I run a half marathon tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. What am I supposed to do?
So just think of something that maybe something that. How about you had said the week had been highs and lows? Like, maybe what if one of those things that weren't good, what if it actually turns around and is actually good? Or
what if all the highs elevated the lows so that they didn't matter so much and the highs just kept getting higher and better?
Yes.
I like it.
I love it.
Well, all right, guys. Yael, thank you so much for coming back and joining us and sharing your opinions, your thoughts. It's always a pleasure. Valerie, I'm going to let you. The reason I'm hesitating because I was like, oh, there was one more story I wanted to tell that I thought was funny. So I'm going to let Valerie say whatever closing statements that she would like to make, and I will tell that very quick, speedy story.
Yeah, like always, you guys, thank you for listening. I love our conversations. Yael, yes, you have such great opinion, and you're just such a strong person. And I feel like for our listeners, it's something that I feel like, I hope, permeates through the microphone or their earbuds, AirPods, whatever. And I hope this inspires you guys to, one, have these conversations with people. If you are in the dating world, tell people what you need. And most importantly, if that's not where you're at, just start learning about yourself. So if and when you get into those situations, you know what that is. Like always, we appreciate y'all. And tell us that story, Alikona.
Okay, so I'm saying this because you at home can see this video too. I sent something just now to Valerie and Yael about a woman, going back to the bugaboo, who got pulled over by a cop, and she thought he was real good looking. And so her friend started taping her because she was like hitting on the cop. Like, you are so hot. And I just want you to know that I really appreciate how respectfully you needed information and you asked it from me. And if there were more hot cops out there like you, we wouldn't have so much crime. And I just want to let you know, as you walked away back to your car to put my information in your computer, I really appreciated whoever gave you the motivation to go to the gym. I just want you to know that. And he was like, thank you. Do you have a brother? So you can find that on IG.
I love it. Let's be more like this Southern woman who got pulled over. Bold and brave.
Oh my. Anyways, okay, thank you guys. We love you so much. Mwah. Until next time.
Adios.
Goodbye.